This is a Play Your Way network presentation. Get the full story at PlayLifeYourWay.com. In a world where comics, movies, games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7, three champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derreck will show you how to do it. The Player Way.
Ladies and gentlemen and everyone in between, it's on once again, Patron once again. This is your resident podcast, DJ BK, helping you understand and curate your life and media.
The Player Way.
Man, it's like I'm doing these live drops, man, and like I can never tell if I'm doing them right. It's like there's this excitement to be able to do this thing live, literally being a DJ. When you hear me say I'm your resident podcast DJ, I'm literally doing every single drop live and in living color, giving you all of the exclusives.
The Player Way.
Exclusive. And that, yes, is the exclusive man himself, Mr. Corrupting the System with the custom Corrupting the System on his back, Derreck.
That's right. You already know who it is, Corrupting the System. Enjoying himself for a great episode 52 we got ahead. I can't wait to get into this.
Episode 52, indeed. And we couldn't do this alone. We always got to do it with Mr. Corbin Dallas himself, the silent assassin, the constant protector, the host that we deserve, not the host we need. Give it to us, Nate.
That's me.
That's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between. You are tuned in to the most entertaining podcast in the most player way possible. You are tuned in to
The Player Way.
That's exactly right.
Number 5.
No, it's not time for that podcast yet. You're getting too excited, Darren. Yeah, what's going on is we got this podcast called the Top 5 Podcast that comes out every Thursday. You could call it the PG version of the Playway Podcast, but we like to call it Weekly Top 5 Podcast. Now on iTunes and Google Play, you can get that every single week. Now, Darren, say the thing that we actually want you to say, because who we got to get the commercials out the way. Who is the Playway Podcast brought to you by?
Presented by Play Your Way Network and Agency Cartel Clothing Company, the official clothing for grind time.
That's what's up, Darren. I appreciate that, bro. You absolutely killed that. That's right. He killed it, but we're going to get us a one-up because it's time to... we always record this thing on Monday and release it on Tuesday, so get your week started off in the best way. Guys, what's going on in the world? What's media-wise, what's going on? What you been up to?
Well, I'll go.
Don't sound so excited about it.
I did start... I know this started a few weeks ago, but I was catching up on the latest season of Westworld.
Yes.
Pretty good. I do enjoy it. Starts off a little slow, but...
It does. The first episode was kind of confusing.
But more than that, I went through the entire latest season of All or Nothing, highlighting, Derreck's own Dallas Cowboys. Which I honestly, watching it, I used to wonder how Jason Garrett was still there. Watching it,
and the answer is he overuses the F word as much as possible. That's how he stays.
Honestly, he seems like a nice guy, to be honest with you. Like, I kind of want to have a beer with him. Yeah,
he's a nice guy that every time he cusses sounds like a kid using a cuss word for the first time ever. And I'm going to use my favorite one today, guys.
Yeah. I thought they were going to go into the Des Bryant thing towards the end, but if I remember correctly, they didn't go into it at all.
Nope. Completely
it just kind of ended the way, kind of ended with Dallas' season ending.
Yep. Yeah.
So y'all definitely recommend that show. Is it super exciting to watch? Tell me what it's like this season.
My take on it, I feel as a born and bred Dallas Cowboy fan, it's just seeing it from this perspective. It's just like we're advertised as all this just glitz and glamour, and I just never get the feeling that it's a hardcore football team. I get the feeling it's a billionaire's plaything, and it is. And so just to see it on actually an actual impartial show, and just see that that's how they're represented, it just goes to show.
So is Jerry Jones a big part of the show?
Yes.
Really? That's
Him and
interesting
his
to see the
entire
owner
family,
really hands on.
Exact. But are you surprised?
His
Are you
entire
surprised?
family
I'm not surprised.
His entire family works for the Cowboys organization.
Yeah,
from
dude.
Like his sister, his
father,
head of, like,
sons,
brand and marketing. Yeah.
Now
I'm thinking now that I think about it,
I think I might have seen part of the first. Doesn't the first episode start off with
Justin Timberlake?
With the Justin Timberlake and Hall of Fame induction? Okay, I did see the first episode.
Party.
All right, well then that's what's up. I'm glad we did talk about this story because I did. I consume so much media, I forget sometimes what I talked about or what I watched. So yeah, I did watch that, and yeah, I did get. That's kind of why I didn't continue on to episode 2. I was like, wow, this is about a lot about him, big time.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's like
it was interesting that he showed Des Bryant in that first episode and saying hello to him and all that stuff. It's very interesting. I wonder what it's going to end up like by the end of the season.
I don't wonder too much because
you know
about Des at the end of the season. I was so looking forward to it. I was like, they had to have like.
I figured they would at least done a recut or something.
Yeah, just something.
Guys, I need y'all to be there for this meeting through the door. I'm sorry, Des. We're going to go in a different direction. I appreciate everything you contributed to this franchise here, and we do, and we are, and we will win again.
So what else? What else you guys been up to this week?
I got a pleasant surprise in the form of a PS4 video game consumption, and if only I want a son like Atreus in God of War, please, boy.
So God of War 4, you did
yes. That? Man, that is the life right now.
Dude, have you listened to Weekly Games Chat the last couple of
No,
episodes?
it's because it's spoilers, so I'm waiting for that one when I get to a certain point in the game. That way I can go back and listen to it. But yeah, I was wondering when they were going to do it, and then they did it like the next day, and I'm like, oh man, well I definitely need to catch up now. And I saw the spoilers with that great graphic, I will say, and I was like, oh, let me wait a minute. But man, I'm completely enthralled. It's just. It's a totally different world than 3, and it's just delving into Norse mythology. It just all those gigantic explorable world, and you just can do everything. And the dialogue is fantastic.
That's what's up. Shout out to Chris, Sean, and John with Weekly Games Chat. You can listen to them every single week on the Play Your Way Network at playlifeyourway.com, playyourwaypodcast.com, or just playyourwaynetwork.com. Every Wednesday, Weekly Games Wednesday is what we call it. They do an amazing job with their Weekly Games Chat, so shout out to those guys. They are definitely doing their entertainment consumption and commentary.
The Player Way.
Moving along with the commentary, Black Panther is finally out on Blu-ray and on demand, and the craziest thing happened. Shout out to the guys in our group chat, our Play Your Way Network podcast, Play Your Way Network rather, writing team group chat that we have on Facebook. But basically,
like
Black
a thief
Panther
in the night.
Still,
that was like a thief in the night. BK,
I'm telling you, it is still It's still in the top 10 of best box office films in the country.
And it's out.
And yet it's on Blu-ray, DVD. And do films still come out on DVD? I think they still do.
Well, yeah, they have to. Yeah. I mean, I say have to, but they still do. But what an incredible feat. Has that ever been done?
Yeah. I don't know if it has, man. I got to do some research, but man, that is insane
stake an
to just think about.
Unresearched claim of yes, this is the first.
thing that makes me mad about Black Panther coming out when it came out, I really wish it had come out a week before Infinity War, because up until that moment, I was really excited to get Black Panther in my hand. I was fiending for it. And now that I have it within my grasp, I don't really care. Because now I want a bootleg of Infinity War, like hardcore, man. Like, it's just, I just want those movies in my hands. So that's what's going on. And just to kind of round out what's been going on this week, there's a lot of different stories that have been popping up. Two in particular that will make it a top 5 rundown, if you will. Get what I did there?
No,
yeah, the first is going to be, last week was absolutely Childish Gambino's week. Donald Glover was on SNL, so he was all over the YouTubes all week. The same day he dropped his music video for This Is America. It's been parodied already. It's been flipped upside down and everywhere in between. And then that last Thursday, this past Thursday, just right after his SNL and during his best week ever, was the season finale of Atlanta, which was an amazing round out of a story. Just kind of answering all the questions. There's been this build up all season. Spoiler alert, if you've not watched Atlanta season 2, just be careful. But literally there's been this idea that something might happen to Earn when it comes to Paperboy. And you kind of get the answers as to what's going to happen with him and what is Paperboy's philosophy toward Earn. You get a little bit of that seasoning. During season 2, the episode right before the season finale, because there's this episode about being in middle school and being insecure, and you go to like Ross or some sort of TJ Maxx's clearance sale, and then you find this Tommy Hilfiger, or in their particular case, they had a what was it? It was like a Rockaware, or it was a Fat Farm or some. Oh no, it was FUBU. It's a FUBU jersey, and Earn gets the FUBU jersey, and it's real obvious that he has kind of like a knockoff version of this shirt. Which, if you can't relate to this, if you're a black kid from the late 90s, early 2000s, and you were trying to wear the latest fashions, there was a lot of knockoff type of stuff that was being sold in like Ross and TJ Maxx. I was one of those kids. This episode connected to me in particular because when I was in middle school going to Forest Meadow, shout out to Forest Ghetto, Dallas.
Forest Ghetto in the house.
Exactly. I went to that middle school, and then right across the way, Derreck went to a different middle school in the same neighborhood. But basically, I had this Tommy Hilfiger shirt, and it had the Tommy Hilfiger like logo and everything. And my grandmother bought it for me. Shout out to Woody Watterson, is what Derreck likes to call him, Beverly Waters. So she bought that for me on clearance, and I was so excited to wear it to Forest Meadow, my middle school, when I was in the 8th grade. And I got immediately made fun of because there was this kid who knew what was what, and he looked at my tag and saw it was a Fruit of the Loom shirt. Big T, but it was
bought over there on Harry Hines.
And I had to wear a jacket for the rest of the day. So when I saw that episode of Atlanta, I connected. It resonated with me big time. So through that episode, you really get an understanding, because the person who saves him from the persecution is Paperboy, his brother. I mean, his cousin. And so he kind of helps him go through the situation and give him the whole idea of how it works, even down to the fact that his cousin was broke too when they were in middle school, and he became part of the ROTC program, and so he's wearing the ROTC fatigues every day. So you get an idea that like, oh, okay, so he became part of the ROTC thing, even though he's still breaking the rules at school, so he didn't have to worry about clothes. So he could wear the same clothes. So even back then, Paperboy was thinking about how to hustle the system and how to corrupt the system in his own way. Even back at that early age. So anyway, you get a good seasoning of what the season finale is about through that episode. So if you've not seen it, definitely, Donald Glover had the best week ever. He is definitely living life
the player way.
And then to round it off, guys, have you seen that video about Google Duplex?
Yes.
If you have not heard about Google Duplex, it is time for your exclusive.
The player way.
Exclusive.
Derreck, give us a rundown of Google Duplex real quick.
Google Duplex is the most advanced AI system I've ever heard in my entire life. And but Derreck, how many AI systems have you heard? Quite enough. We've all heard them. But
Siri,
this one,
Alexa.
Yeah, they've been out
different
there.
Different types of assistants.
Yeah.
And up until now, Google Assistant has just been called simply Google Assistant. But there's an initiative to kind of Android it by calling it Google Duplex.
Yep.
And so the unveiling was this week. And tell us a little bit about the video. that came out on YouTube.
As I watched this video, the first was a very problemless hair appointment. This thing, you requested it. Hey, set me a hair appointment between 10 and 12 next Wednesday or whatever it was, whatever day it was. And then the assistant calls the hair salon, interacts with the real person on the other line, sets the appointment, negotiates, and then sets the appointment because initially it was told it was a time outside of the initial window. 1:15, which is not between 10 and 12. The assistant adjusted and insisted, actually, and then obtained a 10 a.m. appointment, all in the span of a conversation. The person on the other end, surely they had no idea that they were talking to a robot because it actually had word whiskers. Oh yeah, cool. Those things within conversation, actual dialect specific with a lexicon of all humans in phone conversations and how we all speak. It's incredible. It's going to be definitely on the bullseye board for any and all call center long distance term. If this is something that Google can roll out and be efficient, and then they can just have the companies tweak it to their own specific recorded calls, they'll have a computer agent. You know what I mean? Which is what they want anyway. So this is definitely the start of the result of years of research, as indicated in the video, but definitely a huge consumer advance. And it makes me feel good to see what the Stark Expo could be like in real life. You know what I mean? It made me feel good. I'm like, man, imagine if we had a Tesla Expo, the 115th Tesla Expo. You know what I mean? Imagine what kind of world we would live in instead of being frozen for 100 years. But that's
Nate,
a whole other rabbit hole.
Thoughts?
We can't get in.
What are some of your thoughts that when you saw this thing?
I think, like Derek mentioned before, a ton of people who work at call centers will lose their job. People that mostly set appointments will lose their jobs, and also phone conversations will become far more complicated since people try to derail those that they suspect are robots.
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's like the movie Her. You know, we talked about that when we talked about our sci-fi movies, but I firmly believe Her is one of the most accurate representations of where I see the future going in terms of AI having your own personal operating system.
Black Mirror in the house.
I think the most uncomfortable thing about that demo is when you listen to it, as a man, you listen to it and you're like, oh, she sounds fine as hell. Like, and it's a machine. It's like, oh, this is not a real person. Like, I
saw a cute girl in my brain when I heard this Google voice, and I'm like, but this belongs to no one.
Exactly. And on top of that, it's making the call without charging you any sort of cell data or anything. It's going in the background. You just tell your device to schedule the appointment. You put the device in your pocket, go on about your day, and all of these phone calls are happening in the background. It's just insane to think about. So that's definitely what's going down right there. Yeah. We've just given you a complete rundown of what the week has been like, so you are now tuned in. Absolutely.
That's exactly why I invest in robotics.
Absolutely. Definitely invest in robotics. Nate is giving you all kinds of financial advice.
The player way.
And definitely.
They're going to put that voice inside a Boston Dynamics lab, and then we're going to have a real situation on our hands. You know that backflipping robot?
Yes.
There's plenty of robotics ETFs that people can put their money into, but robotics, obviously, as it has been the future since, like...
Dude, speaking of Boston Dynamics, man, did you not see this week as well? They talked about that. People have known about the quadruped
when people
robot.
first saw trains for the first time.
Yeah, people know about the quadruped robot that's been doing its thing within Boston Dynamics because Derek mentioned Boston Dynamics. But there's also an upright running one now that can self-correct, walk upstairs, run upstairs, and all of that as well. So
no, man. No.
Just take the Google Assistant, put the Google Assistant inside of the brain of the Android chick who can now carry on conversations. Then you put that head on top of the Boston Dynamics body, and now we have
Ultron.
Data from Star.
Yes.
Ultron.
You want change, but you don't know how. And then, boom, our planet was reassessed and organized.
There you go.
And of course, I feel like I have to say the obligatory Skynet is active. I feel like it's a must. If any conversation of this type of stuff has to go around, we already have Alexa ordering stuff just with the random things. She's listening to me right now.
Boom. Explosive results. So, speaking of Voltron, let's move on to the topic of the week. Our topic of the week, I got to credit Jay Daniel with this, of the Play Your Way Network. He got on, it was like Saturday, he got online, it may have been Sunday actually, and he got online, he asked a question. I think he was rewatching the first Avengers film. And at the scene where Tony he redirects the nuke into space, and he's like, who's the deadliest, who's considered the deadliest Avenger? Is it Tony Stark? And at that time, we didn't know he was watching the film, but as the conversation went on, he kept directing people like, yeah, but who has the highest body count though? And I said, oh, I see where you're headed. You're talking about that nuke that he directed into space and took out like the motherships and everything. And he's like, yeah. So the debate came, is Tony Stark the deadliest Avenger by way of nuke? My argument was that technically he doesn't get the credit for that. S.H.I.E.L.D. gets the credit for that because S.H.I.E.L.D. is the one who sent the nuke. Without S.H.I.E.L.D. sending that nuke, there is no Iron Man nuke to send off into space. You can't call him the mightiest, deadliest Avenger because he had no way of making that happen. He directed the chaos in a way so that it benefited the rest of us. And he almost killed himself doing it, which is another point against him as well. By dumb luck, he happened to make it back through. So that's the beginning of the conversation. So let's talk about this because it turned into a really big conversation. We talked about Thor. We talked about all kinds of people. So in your mind, who is the deadliest Avenger? Who has the highest Avenger? Body count in your opinion? MCU, and we're talking about the MCU, of course.
Okay,
who has the highest body count?
Yeah,
I would say Thor, right?
I mean, Thor's been alive for 1,500 years.
I thought he was like 3,000. I thought he's been in how many wars and battles?
At least 1,500. We know at least 1,500.
Yeah, in
sure.
Infinity Wars, I'm 1,500 years old.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what he says. Exactly.
How many wars he's fought in, people he's destroyed.
Yeah, planets.
Exactly.
And if you watch the first Avengers, you remember where he gets the lightning and he shoots it up at the hole and
puts it in the fuel.
He's the one that pushes everybody back through. Again, I agree with that. Like when I'm thinking about that, and shout out to Jay, you definitely got the conversation started.
The player.
So we give you all due credit and all due respect for starting this conversation. However, part of what put Tony in the right, who racked up the table for Tony to hit that cue ball right down the middle and hit the first 2 or 3 shots in the hole is Thor, first and foremost, because when Cap is directing everybody in different directions, he's like, we need someone to pigeonhole everything that's coming out of that hole. And then you see Thor throw this hammer, which was an awesome scene, straight out of the comic books, and just the force of Mjolnir throwing him into the air. I love it. And he goes up there and he stops more of the Chitauri from coming down and the worms coming down. On top of that, something else that he mentioned, he's talking about people taking out motherships and everything. Thor also took out a ship as well, because someone jammed, wasn't it Iron Man who jammed like a...
No, Hulk did.
Hulk did that, that's right. Yeah, he jammed the thing into his back, and then Thor through the lightning, he puts the lightning... Ultimate Warrior meme. He puts the lightning in the fuel.
Man, he wasn't playing in that meme.
No, he was not playing.
He's kettlebells.
I'm telling you. Take a squat like you're taking a shit. Nate, have you seen that yet?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know the meme I'm talking about? No,
I thought you were just talking about Ultimate Warrior's promos.
No, there's this meme I put up at Playerway Podcast on Instagram. If you go there, you'll see this hilarious. Somehow, I saw this video on YouTube. Derek, you know me more than the rest of you guys. I just sit and watch YouTube Red all day long, and so this video comes up because I watch a lot of wrestling videos, this random video comes up of the Ultimate Warrior. Apparently, he was training kids to be wrestlers. I guess they were had bad behavior. It was like a tough love type of show where you send your kids to someone to train, and then they cuss at them and make them right. And so there's these kids, I guess they think they want to be wrestlers, being badasses. He makes them work out, and he is cursing at them. And this one kid, toward the end of the video, he's like, fuck. He goes, fuck. Yeah, that's what you're going to do. You're going to get in front of an arena full of people, and you're not going to be able to run down the ramp because you're tired. And all you can say is, fuck. You think people are going to care? It's like hilarious. So definitely go follow at Playaway Podcast on Instagram if you want to see funny memes just like that. But getting back to the conversation, sorry we went down the rabbit hole. Derek definitely successfully corrupted the system, as he always does. So what were we even talking about?
Thor.
So we're talking about that
Stark
sequence. So okay. So I guess the question is to you guys: does Tony Stark get the body count kill credit, or does he share that credit in a different category along with team kills?
I feel like if it's going to go down that type of conversation, because in Iron Man 1, like, Tony killed a lot of dudes in Iron Man 1. Like, if we're talking about just, like, human stuff, like, not actual a god living centuries and killing, like, Iron Man's killed a lot of people. However, if we're going to have the discussion of him redirecting a missile, then that's going to beg a discussion of he also made weapons and sold those weapons. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
He killed a lot of people. He took out a lot of weapons, and he had casualties as a result. He never intentionally tried to kill anybody.
Yeah, but that's a difference. Like, I know there's collateral as well, but however, that still is a murder count on his hand, though. You know, regardless if it's collateral.
But what my point is it's not like Black Widow.
He killed Obadiah.
Black Widow. It's not like
Well, Sam, I mean, are we going to include her past as well? Are we going to including Black Widow's past of her being assassin?
Well, no,
or just
I
Black Widow
actually misspoke. I meant to say not the same thing as Scarlet Witch, where she waves her hand and a whole building blows up. Like, Tony never did that. So I think I agree in Iron Man 1, which may be the only film. He killed some people in Iron Man 3 as well. He killed about.
He definitely shot that beam through. Yeah, definitely.
I'd say he killed about 15 people in Iron Man 3. Nate, what do you say on Iron Man 3? How many people did Stark kill?
I'd have to watch it over again.
Okay, it's like fresh on my mind. I just got through watching it not too long ago.
Okay.
He killed a good bit of people with the virus, and then he killed some henchmen. He never intentionally killed them. You don't know if they died or not, but like they had to have died. You know what I'm saying? Taking concussive blasts to the sternum. And then one guy, and he even shot people because he was shooting people in that movie too. Because he had like his Iron Man glove on one hand and he had a gun in the other hand. So he was definitely shooting people. And there is a scene where he tells this one guy, he's holding the gun up at this guy, and he's like, "You sure you want to do this?" And this guy's like, "Dude, I don't even care about these people. These people weird me out anyway." And he like runs out. So I would say in that movie, I'd give him no more than 15 people in that film. And in Iron Man 2, he doesn't kill anybody. Because it's all thrown better. That's why.
Yeah.
Maybe he killed that one guy.
And see, the first one, he had the caverns, and then and then if you go through the whole deal, are we counting like aliens too? Like, because he killed some Shatari.
No,
too,
yeah.
You know
No,
I mean?
we haven't even gotten to Avengers yet. So we're still dealing with the Iron Man
crawling
trilogy.
up the line.
Yeah, I'm going backward. Yeah, so I would say.
I mean, he blew up a tank in the first one. He blew up a tank. He
probably killed a good.
I'd say that was probably his biggest. I feel like he killed more than that. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen it, though.
He killed some insurgents, quote unquote. In the, you know what I'm saying? He definitely killed a good bit of insurgents in that film. Okay, so we'll say maybe 45 heading into Avengers. Is that fair?
Okay. Without seeing it recently, I mean, that's a number I'm willing to agree on. I mean, I just haven't seen it recently enough to be like, oh yeah, there's this other time, but yeah. Okay,
so conservatively we say 45.
Well,
that works.
Iron Man 3 is set after Avengers 1.
Right, I know. I was just dealing with his personal his trilogy. Now let's talk about Avengers. So the Chitauri, we know we killed hundreds, thousands of those guys. because you know the body count is always higher in films when you're talking about people who are faceless for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Whenever they make up some some sort of alien type of people. So
I don't know. See, with the missile, it's an assist, right? Like an assist doesn't count as
that's
points.
What I feel. Nate, what do you think? Do you count Iron Man directing the nuke toward the mothership as 100% his kills?
But it wouldn't happen if he.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened if he hadn't done that.
So you're giving it all to Tony. So let's imagine me, you, because essentially the three of us, I'm Tony Stark. All right, Nate is Cap, and Derreck is Thor. All right, that's how I see us. Okay, so Derreck is like, no, I'm not the best looking one of all three of us.
I definitely
I'll
don't
take
think
it
that.
anyway. Anyway,
Definitely.
Nate, I definitely know Nate wants Cap, and then me being a resident podcast DJ, I will definitely take Tony Stark. All right, so if I came into the gentleman's bet situation,
Evans over Hemsworth.
So imagine.
I'm on your side, Nate.
Bets.
So we're coming into the gentleman's bet.
Gentleman's bet right over here. Let's get it going, boys.
All right, so I'm coming in. So I'm coming in here, and I'm like, hey guys, just want to say we're eating our shawarma right now. We're chilling here. We're all trying to look back at our situation. A little bit of an exclusive situation right now. A lot of people don't know that Chris Evans in that scene is the only person who's not eating shawarma because he was filming Snowpiercer at that time, and he had a beard and he was not one to compromise. So they built a prosthetic chin to go around his face. So that's the reason why Chris Evans is holding his face in that scene and doesn't take a single bite or drink. So Nate over there with your Snowpiercer chin on, I'm up here claiming that I am the Mightiest Avenger because...
Give me a round of applause for that detail right there. That was incredible. That was a for real exclusive.
You are watching Master at Work.
So yeah, so imagine I'm trying to take credit for that, Nate. What do you tell me? Do I get credit for the nuke in that situation?
I think so, because that nuke would have hit Manhattan if Tony hadn't intercepted it and flew it up towards the black hole.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would have hit New York City, and the casualties would have been actual people, including the Avengers.
And if he had failed, he would have got credit for fucking it up.
Yes.
All right. You heard it right here. Jay, if you're listening, and I know you are.
Exclusive. The player way.
Exclusive.
You win, bro. You won that conversation. As Nate laid it out, I agree with it. If he gets the credit, if Tony Stark gets the credit for screwing up, and on top of that, the other thing that I was waiting on somebody to say, but no one said it yet. Stark almost died. He almost killed himself trying to do that. And on top of that, if we think about the will of the writers, he's supposed to be the Mightiest Avenger. So they almost intentionally gave him that nuke to kill more people than anyone, just so that he could get the credit for being the most dangerous Avenger on Earth, and which is probably how Thanos has heard of him. Well, who is the person who did that? Who's that guy who escaped back through that black hole? So, in a way,
who's the guy that took out 6 million of my Shatari's army when I was trying to do something to Earth? I
and it explains why he never tried to invade that way ever again through a single hole. The next time you see Thanos,
guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, I mean he's throwing these all over Wakanda's prairie side. These ships are dropping from everywhere, and they're dropping way too fast to try to target one single area or portal that they're coming through. So it actually changes up Thanos' whole way of coming in and trying to fight.
You are watching a master at work.
So that's what's going down right there. All right, so there you got it, guys. So according to the Playaway podcast, the Mightiest Avenger, according to the MCU, is Tony Stark at the very top of the pile.
Well, we don't know what Thor's real death count is.
Yeah, that's why you got to give it to him, because we do know Tony Stark's. Thor has claimed to kill a lot of people.
1,500 years.
Yeah, but he's claimed to kill a lot of people. But think about this. If you watch Thor: The Dark World and you watch the original Thor film, they explain that there's been a period of peace between Asgard and all of the other planets. So yes, there's this adulation that starts at the beginning of Thor, but his battles have been somewhat minuscule. And
then what about Odin?
What about Odin?
And his ventures with Hela.
Now, we know Odin for fact killed a lot of people because...
Yep.
That's what I mean.
Because the mural
but I
is
guess
one...
he wouldn't count as an Avenger.
No, he wouldn't count. But he wouldn't count at all. But we do know Odin and Hela killed hella fucking people. We know that just from the mural that you can see it depicted how many people. You know about the whole Snow Giants war that you see event. You know about Odin's father who... killed all of the dark elves and put them back. So Thor's never been through one of those types of wars, and that's kind of the center of the conversation with Thor in the original film, is that he's never been through a really, really difficult war before, and that's what he hungers for in that film, which is what Loki kind of tricks him into doing. Like, if you have this big war, then you can be the All-Father finally. Like, you can finally claim your seat at the table. And so Loki tricks him into having this war with people, with the Frost Giants who don't even really want to fight. There's this period of peace. And even in that war, Thor doesn't really have anything much to do with it anyway, because Odin helps fix that whole situation anyway.
My thought is, just based on length of time, like Thor's been in way more wars than Tony Stark has ever even.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And I know we're talking about like on screen and everything, but if we are really talking about the deadliest Avenger, I feel like Thor definitely edges out Iron Man. He has to. He's been alive for way too long, and he's definitely fought some bloody battles. Like, we know he's a warrior. You know what I mean?
Here's why I would give Tony the edge. If you go back to
because
he's
not a god.
No, if you go to Avengers Assemble, and Thor and Tony actually have a fight, Thor tries to take Tony out with the thunder and the lightning and the fuel, and all it does is give Iron Man fuel. Imagine the bleeding edge armor with the lightning and the fuel versus Thor now. I don't know, man. That's a good fight.
Even so, it is a good fight, but even so, Thor is still ridiculously strong. You know what I mean? Like, he could actually just peel that off of Tony's body if he really wanted to. Tony can't do that. Like, he could just peel that off of him just... And now what?
So you think Thor could do exactly the same thing that Thanos did to Tony?
Absolutely.
All right, so are we changing it up? Are we saying Thor is the mightiest Avenger, even though we can't confirm his kills, his might, and his feats that we have seen on the screen? And you guys are solely in trouble now. From that comment from Hulk himself, are we saying Thor brings the Ragnarok and gets the first top spot?
I mean, I guess that you mentioned Hulk now. Do we have to discuss him? He's got some kills
Thor himself is trying to say number one. Nate, are you saying number one for Thor over Tony Stark?
If I were in a tag team to the death, I would definitely want Thor as my partner.
You are watching a master at work.
If I really,
give it to
off
you.
the top of my head, gun to my head, definitely, I would pick Thor.
I'll give it to you. You won. All right, so
especially post Ragnarok Thor too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's a huge difference between the Thor in Thor 1 and 2 and Thor 3.
Yeah,
big difference.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So,
and number one,
we definitely have Thor.
Number two,
we have Tony Stark.
Number three,
who's number three?
Hulk? Wouldn't it be Hulk? I mean,
I would go Hulk.
He's had some rampages and definitely has some collateral damage and intentional damage.
They definitely downplayed. That was something that we had an argument about. Is I wanted to say that number one was Thor, then number two was Hulk, because of the whole Africa thing that was part of the whole Sokovia Accords being created in the first place. What everyone was countering me on was that Tony said that in the middle of the battle, and it does say this is canon, that he bought the building in the middle of the fight and evacuated the building. Now, my argument was that it is impossible to evacuate all of those people at one time. If we do death battle rules, and shout out to the guys at Death Battle, they definitely do geek arguments and debates.
The Player Way.
Shout out to Screw Attack is part of that whole thing. Go on YouTube and watch those types of things. Start with Superman versus Goku, and then Superman versus Super Saiyan Blue Goku, which is the second part of that debate. So yeah, you can see that, and they use math and all of that stuff. So I personally can't see all of those people getting out of the building, and we even see some people bleeding in the head from the casualties of this fight happening, and it's part of why Hulk even feels kind of weird, and I am saying that correctly. Yes, Banner feels a certain way, but Hulk also feels a kind of way. You see it in his face that he doesn't want to hurt anybody. He just wants to be left alone. So we're saying Hulk is 3 because we can't confirm the kills and he hasn't had the opportunity to show it yet.
I mean,
I could agree with that.
Because by then, everybody else, I mean, we have Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Cap. Like these guys
what if, and this is my conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy. But what if it's a conspiracy?
A new challenger has arrived. I believe number 3 is not Hulk. I believe number 3 is the entity, the hero responsible, who was once a villain, responsible for sending Hulk on that rampage in the first time. Scarlet Witch is number 3. The woman who is really responsible for the Sokovia Accords, just from a flick of the wrist, throws.
So by that logic, then S.H.I.E.L.D. gets the kill for Tony Stark then.
Yeah, we already established that. He's on the list. He's on the list, number 2. So I think Scarlet Witch is number 2. Is number 3. She throws that bomb up and kills hella people. She doesn't intend to, but she kills a lot of people.
Yeah, but we're talking about like we're just talking about on-screen kills or just their character kills.
She killed him on screen. She killed other people. So, Alfred Woodard, dude. Alfred Woodard came out. She did her Amanda Waller snot cry.
She might have got like 15 or 17 people, man. I'll give her 30 just in case, but that's still not close to...
And the island of Sokovia that she helped establish along with...
how am I going to put that
Thanos.
on her?
Dude, think about Thanos. She takes
Ultron
Thanos with
that.
one hand. She takes Thanos with one hand. One hand she takes Thanos on. Think of how many Ultron bots she took out. I think the deadliest
Ultron bots.
Thor,
I thought we weren't counting.
If we're going to give Thor number
clones.
1 without seeing but like
clones.
maybe 10 kills of him... If we're gonna give him number 1 without seeing confirmed kills, it's only right. I mean, it's only right that we put
all right.
Scarlet
Let's go with this. What is Scarlet? What wars have Scarlet Witch been fighting? We saw her fight in.
She was in Infinity War. Infinity War. She took on. She successfully kept fought off Thanos with one hand. And Thanos even looks at her like, my child.
But that doesn't have number of kills though. Like, we don't have, like, number of kills. Like I'm just talking about, like, throughout the movies, we've only seen her fight in Infinity War, and then we saw her fight...
She killed at least... All right, how many people do you think she killed in the Sokovia situation to warrant the whole Civil War?
I think if you watch Civil War, it gives you the kill count.
It's a lot of
on the
people.
Screen as Secretary Ross is talking.
It's a lot of people. She killed a lot of people, dude. She took a lot of people out in a single situation. Then on top of that, she took on Thanos with one hand. She took on Proxima Midnight.
In the comics,
I get that she was strong, but that's not
Proxima Midnight. She killed Proxima Midnight. Come on,
in the
dude.
comics, she's one of the most powerful.
Yeah, she is. If we're going, I mean, I'm not going. But we are talking MCU. She's not even at the peak of her power. She's a badass dude. Think about what she did when her brother got killed.
She's very strong. I wholeheartedly agree. I just feel like I haven't seen her kill many people except for that one incident in Africa. I just can't, and of course, obviously the killing.
Well, they're not going to give her too many kills as a villain because she's got to turn herself around. But she killed a lot of Ultron bots just by powering up Super Saiyan. She just went on her knees.
Yeah,
but anyway,
are we counting robot kills too?
No, I'm saying you haven't seen her in wars, but you have seen her in wars.
In action. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, you've seen her time served in action. We've seen her in Infinity War.
She's extremely strong, and if
she was on equal footing with Vision.
Yeah, and Vision's. Yeah,
I say equal. Yet.
She was better. She's better than Vision. What do you mean?
Yeah,
she stopped him.
She folded him like fresh laundry and threw him to the ground.
18 floors down, and it was a wrap.
Exactly. All right, so are we saying 3 Scarlet Witch, women's empowerment? Hashtag
Scarlet. Scarlet.
All right.
26 people in
26 people.
Africa.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's more than we've seen Thor on screen with people.
And that's from that was on the back of the screen.
There you go.
Secretary Ross was.
That's
talking.
awesome. Yeah. I appreciate that. So there you go. So you got.
And number 1.
We have absolutely Thor.
Number 2.
We got Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Number 3.
We got Scarlet Witch, which I think then puts
Number 4.
the Hulk or Vision.
Did Vision kill anybody?
Vision hasn't killed anybody.
Oh, okay, then it's Hulk.
The reason why I say Hulk is because what we saw. First of all, I would have said Vision before Infinity War. Dude got his shit pushed in so many times. Like every scene, they did my dude dirty. Every scene, he got stabbed in the back. He got stabbed in the back every scene. It got annoying about the third time. I'm like, all right, come on, Vision. Damn. Well, I can't phase when they stab me. They don't get stabbed.
He is.
You keep getting stabbed, and I don't like it.
He did.
He got stabbed.
He went from like Bodyguard and Civil War and like Thorough, and to like you remember him knocking down Giant Man, hit him with the cannonball, hit Giant Man over, and then now it was let me
took out War Machine with a single blast. They nerfed the hell out of Vision, man. I don't know what that was about. They really wanted to make him look weak to just level the playing field.
I think you have to. I mean,
he's basic. I just don't understand how you do that. It's weird to me. He's
because he's
Superman.
vibranium. Yes,
he's made out of vibranium.
It's just like you have to.
Bro, and think about this. All right,
because no one other than Scarlet Witch would be any sort of fight against.
But Derek just said something very important. He's about to give us exclusive. He don't even realize it.
Exclusive.
The player way.
Exclusive.
Vibranium, the hardest material known to man. All right, it's for all intents and purposes unobtainium for the MCU. And what do we see Thanos with his bad hand do? His regular hand do? Crashes his head in. He takes vibranium and crashes it in, crunches it, and then just takes the stone out of his head. Thanos can crush vibranium.
He sunflower seeds them.
So that's the thing that Marvel's got to be careful with, because when we see Thanos again, if he goes up against the shield of Cap and he can't crush it as easily as he crushed, the head of Vision, we're gonna have a problem. They made him too strong. So there you go. It's made strong. All right, so there we go. So definitely we're gonna solidify this at number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4 is gonna go to Hulk. Then I guess that puts us at 5. Who are we gonna put at 5? Are we gonna put Vision? Are we gonna put War Machine? Who's who?
See, are we gonna count Black Widow from pre-Avenger Black Widow?
I don't think Black Widow should be in the conversation. We're not gonna do. I'm not gonna let y'all sit up here and do what they did and allow Proxima Midnight to be taken on by a near human being with bangles on. We're not going to even have that conversation.
You just used Proxima Midnight as a point of interest for Scarlet Witch, yet
yes, because Scarlet Witch has the powers. Because she belongs in the conversation.
Well, then so does Black Widow, because she also...
No, she does not. That's like saying Hawkeye belongs in the conversation. No.
He did belong in the conversation. He left for 2 minutes, and you saw what happened.
How did you get out of here? No.
Time to deliver a pizza bomb.
Exactly. Pizza bomb. Exactly. Oh, that visual in the head. And that
extra meaty. So meaty.
Man.
Can I get a meat lovers in less than 30? No, not less than 30, but I'll give you a show.
Oh, man.
Shout out to...
Get hot and ready. Anyway, shout out to Evil Genius on Netflix. Is what we're laughing
for providing about. Humor, dark humor.
Nate, have you seen Evil Genius on Netflix? Mm-mm. Okay. don't watch Eric Andre's show before watching this, because then you're going to be talking about time to deliver a pizza bomb. I'm telling you. But Evil Genius is an amazing show. It is. There's nothing funny about it. It's just something's wrong with us.
It's our interpretation of it is where the humor is coming in.
But
okay?
no.
It's not a joke about what happens. It's just a joke how
Evil
we process
Genius on Netflix
humor.
is really good. It's really good, dude. You definitely need to watch it. It's about one of the most notorious bank heists of all time, and it's insane when you realize how this thing is unraveled, and it's done by a bunch of yokels. That's the weirdest thing about it. But anyway, moving along, number 5. So Nate, who are you? Who's left that you think should be even in the conversation for Mightiest Avenger? MCU only, of course.
The mightiest of them all, Quicksilver.
All right, so
did you see that coming? Did you see that coming? Okay.
You know, I did not see that coming at all.
How Quicksilver catch the...
And that's on me for not seeing that.
No, this is what S.H.I.E.L.D. should be.
Oh, that's so terrible.
I don't know who's left.
You want to just group all the leftover humans together?
Yeah,
no, we can't do that. Because you got Black Panther with his kinetic suit.
But he don't kill nobody.
No, you can't put
He
kill
ain't killing
on
nobody. He ain't kill nobody. Black Panther, no. This Black Panther. Now, the comics and the animated Black Panther, that dude had the edge. This T'Challa, man, he's soft. You know what I'm saying?
homie, this is the top 5, and representation matters. All right? Hashtag.
All right, then it's Terrence Howard for a powerful display.
Come on, man.
Of
I will say,
Iron Man 1.
what I am going to say is how do we put Tony Stark
Samuel
at
L.
number
Jackson.
1? How do we put Tony Stark at number 1, but we won't put War Machine even in the conversation?
Because it's Don Cheadle, and he looks like Caesar from War of the Planet of the Apes, and I just can't take him seriously as War Machine.
Are you about
still?
Big black.
And a real reason, go to
white
Nate.
man's air. Is that what you're trying to say?
He's taking all their air. You see them nostrils?
Exactly. All right, Nate. What about you? I mean, it's got to be Vision. Then.
All that's left is just human. Yeah,
it's got to be Vision then.
Yeah, I guess.
So Vision. So you say Vision.
He's deadlier than the ones that are just humans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Vision. So if we go,
talking
And
Mightiest.
he took out Rhodey, so I wouldn't even.
all right. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right,
Number
number
5.
1.
Number 5.
Is going to be Vision.
Number 4.
Is going to be Hulk.
Number 3.
Is going to be Scarlet Witch.
Number 2.
Is going to be Tony Stark, Iron Man.
And number 1.
The All-Father himself, the new All-Father, Thor, the mighty Thor. So there you go. That is our top 5, the mightiest Avengers of the MCU done
The player way.
That's exactly right. This is a top 5. We don't usually do top 5s, or at least we're not going to be doing top 5s on here all that much more, but we had to do at least one more for the for all time's sake. And on top of that, I'm testing out my new drops for the weekly top 5. So definitely, if you're wanting to get your media and interest curated in a PG environment, definitely get us on the top 5 every single week.
And then it was time for the top 5.
That's exactly right. What we're going to do after this show. And it's almost time to wrap this thing up because it's almost time for the top 5 to be recorded. But we got to round out the conversation by something else that Jay Daniels said to his credit. He said, who is the mightiest who is the mightiest, deadliest villain after Thanos? You got to take Thanos out of the conversation. There's just no debate there. What he can do. Well, go ahead.
I'm okay with after Thanos, but I'm not sure. This is also unconfirmed kill count, but I'm doing this based on millions of years of lifespan. Can I put Ego ahead of Thanos? And the assumption perhaps he went on some murderous tirades for a few hundred thousands of years that we'll never know about. I don't know. Did this guy kill people before he was just now planting that seed, or I feel like I
that's
can't
a good.
remember.
You know what? I like that. You know, that's a different.
Would be up there.
That's a different way of thinking about it, homie. And I like that. I like that.
Hello,
and then death. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I definitely. Okay, so here we go. If we're going based on just kill counts alone, Killmonger wins because he has over. I counted it this week. I didn't manually count it, but I did some research. He has over 2,200 kills confirmed based on the dots on his body. Not counting everybody he killed inside of the Black Panther film, including himself, of course. So,
what about what argument could be made for Hela?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, now
what about Doctor
She
Strange?
is the goddess of death.
She is.
What about
and
Doctor Strange? He's killed himself a lot of times too, and technically brought him back. Doesn't that count too?
You know what?
Oh, motherfucker!
We
I
left.
totally forgot
Yeah, we
about
sure
Strange.
did. We gotta go back.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
no!
And my number 5 is Doctor Strange.
Oh, this dude caused a technical difficulty all on the show. Come on, dude. Derek, why you ain't said that before, man? All right.
I motion that we put Doctor Strange and remove Scarlet Witch because I don't like it. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
We'll have him. Put him.
God. Man,
All right,
Derek,
so
you
it's
just totally. Man,
so-
why you said it earlier? Oh. Okay, so here we go. All right, here we go. So we got to have that conversation. We got to figure out who is stronger. Is it Vision or is it
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange? And I say Doctor Strange like hands
down. Not even.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange can move up the list. You know what I'm saying?
Jeez, dude. But I got to give you credit, man.
You are watching a master at work.
He definitely corrupted the system, indeed. And so we're not going to be having a conversation about deadliest villain now because we got to figure out where Doctor Strange goes on the list. We had done the top 5. We had licked the envelope and closed it. And Derek was like, well, while it's still wet, wrap that bitch right on back open. All right, so what I would say the way we'll have to play this is not based on death count, although I guess you could count himself in the death count, and about all of the people that he saved, because it is implied that there's been a lot of fights between. He's definitely learned how to use his powers very well. He's been watching,
Sorcerer
and
Supreme,
he even gets offended when Tony kind of talks about what he can and can't do. He kind of gets annoyed with the whole magician thing, and he's like, I am the guy who protects you guys from the threats that you don't even see. He doesn't use those
He's
words.
their Green Lantern.
Exactly.
Protecting your reality, douchebag.
There you go. Look at that.
Perfect.
Look at that. Exactly.
On cue.
Perfect. He definitely killed that. All right. So what I'm going to say how we're going to move him up is just have him go one-on-one. He for sure can take out Vision, in my opinion. I think he can definitely take Hulk out because he can just use the Eye of Agamotto in reverse time, so he can't turn back into him again. Scarlet Witch is the only person that I think could give him
an 8-second fight before he crushes her too, and then moves on to Tony and wipes the floor with him, and then it's him versus Thor. Like that. Like I feel like Doctor Strange is like after seeing him, especially Infinity. Man, he was in Infinity War. He was like without him, nothing goes.
They would have
down.
never lost. They would have never lost. Never lost. His plan was to lose. Exactly. I don't know if he could take Thor out though, because Thor has magical abilities. His abilities are
Yeah, but
Hello?
did you see what he did to
Hello?
Thor in Ragnarok?
Have you heard of Doctor Strange and his potential abilities?
I tried my best. I definitely failed big time on that one though.
The player way. And you are failing the player.
Man, we got to drop from Nate. We got to drop from Nate.
All right. So I guess number 1 is going to Doctor Strange. Then we're going Thor. Then we're going to Tony Stark, Iron Man. Then we're going down to Scarlet Witch, and then Hulk to round it out.
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
Perfect. And that is all the time we have for this week. I've been your resident podcast DJ BK, helping you understand and curate your life, media, and mightiest MCU Avengers.
The Player Way.
Along with my co-captains, Nate.
That's me.
And Derreck.
Corrupting the system, strange style.
Strange style. Doing something strange for a little piece of change. That's what's up, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between. If you like what we're doing, definitely subscribe to us on your preferred podcast network. Add us there so that you can get that ding every time we upload. And if somehow you are listening to us on a different platform, find us every single Tuesday on the Play Your Way network at playlifeyourway.com, playwaypodcast.com, on Facebook, Play Your Way Network, or on Instagram, Play Away Podcast. So definitely thanks to my co-captains, and shout out to Play Your Way Network. You guys are amazing. You inspire us, and that's why we're having these awesome conversations from week to week. No matter what paths you take or actions you decide to follow, just make sure you're doing that thing
The Player Way.
Yeah, got to give it a little echo action. Nate, send us off.
I hope they remember you.
God, every time.
Indeed, and we hope they remember you every single time. We'll holler at y'all next week.
Thanks for listening to the Player Way Podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, by Nathan Peterson, Derek Lewis, and BK Jackson.
And I'm Darren Marlar, the majestic voice of the Player Way Podcast.
Our opening theme is titled Bound by Ricky Remedy, courtesy of Elysian Records. And our closing theme is titled Coconut King Diaries by Xander, spelled Zahnder. You can find this music by both Ricky Remedy and Xander, and many more tracks on SoundCloud. And remember, no matter what choices you make or paths you follow, just make sure you do it
The Player Way.
See you next week.